Any answers? It's you ask any mayor.
Because there's no rebate,
There's anong rebate to
SOP or kickback, commission.
maybe I think so. I think that's the reason. So do you see how different it is, how easy it is to identify where the problems are? Now, they say that the main component of that is the you have to put in a certain percentage for profit. Even then, if you allow the contractor to make a certain amount of profit, that's fine. But it's still not 30%. And I can tell you stories about roads that are not 30% cheaper by administration. They're 200% cheaper by administration. And when you see the road, it lasts a year. Maulan na lang, maambunan lang ng konti, pasag na. So, you know, I think it's very clear to people. But again, I always cite that example. That why by administration ang mura-mura? Maganda naman. Kasi kami mismo, pumupunta kami ron, mini-measure yung substrate kung kumakapal. Kami mismo pumupunta, mini-measure namin yung gaano kalapad, kung gaano kalayo yung kalsada. Whereas I guess, in the other, maraming mga inefficiencies. So, if it can be efficient on a small scale, why shouldn't it be efficient on a big scale, on a larger scale? It's just a question of wanting to do it. And I've seen many instances where, pwede naman eh. Sasabihin mo sa mga tao, alam kong kumikita kayo eh. Huwag nyo nang pagkitaan ito, importante ito. O bibigyan ko kayo ng ganito para may kontratista naman natin na kinita para naman worth their trouble. Pero huwag naman yung kalahati. Huwag naman magtira kayo sa project. Huwag naman kung ubusin lahat. Isipin mo, anong project ang magiging matagumpay kung kalahati ng pondo ninakaw mo? Wala talagang pupuntahan yun. It's always going to fail. So, it's a question of changing the way we do things, changing our mentality, changing our culture, and to say to everyone in government, this kind of activity of wrongdoing is not acceptable. I'm telling you this from the very beginning. Magkaintindihan tayo na mabuti. Pagka sinubukan ninyo at nahuli kayo, ikukulong namin kayo. If you say that, people will follow.
Mr. Congressman, I came late. I don't know if this question is good. Would you consider a Senate victory as a vindication for your parents?
No. I don't think anything I do has anything to do with the vindication or validation or any kind of thing like that. You look, it's not my job to vindicate my father. My father does not need me to vindicate him. My father's record will stand on its own. History will judge him, and I'm sure it will judge him well. And that is up to the historians and the academicians to decide. And whatever I do, if my father was a good president and I'm a bad governor, he's still a good president. If my father was not a good president and I'm an excellent governor, he's still not a good president. So what I do has really no effect on the quality of his administration. So no, I don't see it as a vindication of any such thing. I merely see it as the way I view it. And when I get a good response from people, ang iniisip ko is that siguro tanggap yung mensahe ko. Natatanggap nila, yung kung ano man ang sinasabi ko sa kanila, they agree with me that these are the things that need to be done. I don't think of it in those Marcos terms. If anything, it will show what we have contended all along, that the propaganda that was hurled against us for the last 24 years was not actually believed by people. Because if all the propaganda, the terrible things that were said about me, about my family, were believed by people, I couldn't be in politics. I couldn't walk down the street. But I can walk down the street. I am in politics. And that fact means that people are smart enough to know that namumuliti ka lang itong mga kalaban namin, at pag minumura kami, inaakusahan kami ng kung ano-ano, kasama na lang yan sa propaganda at they don't believe it. And because also they see that it is many of the things are simply not true, and they see, as I said before, the comparison between my father's administration and those that have come since, and how effective government has been, how sensitive and compassionate it has been in providing services, how close government was to normal people, something that is that has diminished over so many years. So, I think that what I do is independent of my father's administration. Again, if I had been part of his administration, if I was a Secretary of State or something, then maybe. But the fact of the matter was I was not. My only time I was in government with my father as president was when I was vice governor and then governor till '86. So that's that short period. But as governor of Ilocos Norte, you don't make policy. So I guess I'm not seen as being involved in policy making.
Another question, Mr. Congressman. Well, this may sound hypothetical, but let me ask this anyway. 6 years from now, election again, would you consider running for the
I was
highest
going to ask
position?
I was going to ask.
Yes. I get this question every single time.
Okay.
And I answer it the same way every single time. I am running for the Senate simply because I believe that there are things that what experiences I have in local government have led me to believe that national government is completely disjointed, completely removed, completely disconnected from local communities, from local government. And they have completely lost the idea that they need to be supportive of local government, local communities, of ordinary Filipinos. That is why I ran. Because, I mean, I always quote the story, and this is a true story. I remember sitting watching TV with 2 other governors and a bunch of other mayors, and we were listening to one of the cabinet secretaries explaining the new procedures for procurement of all things. And if you remember, it was the e-bidding that you now had to do bidding on the internet. And it sounded, I said, that all sounds really good. And because the reason nga daw is that to include everybody who's possibly in the market for that. And we all looked at one another and I said, we were saying, what are these people thinking? What planet do they live on? This is not going to work. Not at this level, not at the ground level. We will all end up with the same people. Why? Because it's cheaper to do everything here locally than to do something abroad and go back here and then do this. And it simply won't work. And which led me to the conclusion that they don't understand, they've forgotten, or if they ever knew it, but they've lost the understanding, the feel of what's going on here at local government, that what's going on here at grassroots. That's why I ran, because I really believe that national government lives on another planet from ordinary Filipinos. They simply do not understand anymore what's going on in Look at what's happening to our agriculture. Look what's happening to our school system. Look what's happening to healthcare. These are just basic services that government should be giving our people. They do not provide them. That's all they're supposed to do. Look at the power. All they had to do was sit around the table. Maybe after a week of consultation, they would have had a plan. They didn't do it. What are they doing? That's their job. So they're not doing their job any longer. So I thought this is an opportunity to provide, to give local government, local communities, small community, grassroots communities, a voice once again in national government. And in some way, bring government closer, national government closer to the grassroots. That is why I ran. It's not part of any great plan for a political